So, were there two Buddhas? Was Gautam Buddha an avatar of Vishnu or a different person from similar avatar of Vishnu? Buddha's avtaratva has been a topic of controversy for a while, with different groups making different claims about it. There is a new theory, which I saw many Neo Vaishnava groups propagating, of the two Buddhas, Vishnu incarnate Adi Buddha, and the other being Sakyamuni of Buddhism, as two separate personalities based on the minute differences in Buddha myth from the Vaishnava text and Sakyamuni story in the Buddhist text. They cite the details mentioned in the Bhagavata Purana to claim that Vishnu incarnate Buddha was a different person born centuries before Gautam Buddha, gave teachings of compassion and leaving animal slaughter. Then, centuries later, Siddhartha came to Bodh Gaya, gained enlightenment there as a place had increased spiritual potency for being the birthplace of Avatara Buddha. But do these differences in details from the Bhagavad Purana actually make the Avatara Buddha as a separate person from Siddhartha or the Lumbini? So, as per logic of this story, the Krishna and Rama of the Jatakas, the Jain Purana text, and the Sikh Dasam Granth can be said as different persons from Krishna and Rama of Mahabharata and Ramayana. Krishna of Shiva Purana would be different person from Krishna of Bhagavad Purana. The Isa, Musa, Yahya, Ibrahim, Maryam, Dawood, etc. of the Quran would be different from Jesus, Moses, John, Abraham, Mary, David, etc. of the Bible. But is it so? No. The truth is these are essentially the same figures, but just co-opted in a respective traditions and canonized in it with certain unique distinctive features of that particular tradition. The canonization and co-optations have been an extremely common practice in every religion. The entire Vedic pantheon is similarly co-opted and canonized in the Buddhist and Jain mythology as well. Likewise, Sikhs also canonize the mainstream Hindu Purana lores in their canon, including the Vishnu incarnate Buddha. Almost every prominent or significantly impactful personality, Kapila, Buddha, Yajnavalkya, Ashtavakra, Parashara, Gautama, Angirasa, Brahaspati, from the axial age has been canonized in the Purana text. Even the Greeks, Scythians, Parthians, Hunas, Chinese, Romans, Persians are canonized in the epic literature as well. So the Buddha Avtara of Vaishnava text is basically a co-optation of Buddha into Vaishnava mythology with certain alterations. Similarly, the Rama and Krishna of Bauddha Jataka fables are canonization of these two into Buddhist mythology. The differences between Vishnu Buddha and the Shramana Buddha are there or added probably to assert that theirs is the true story and rest are the false or later deviations by the older denominations. We see this phenomena happening in every religion. For example, Vimalasuri in his Pauma, Paumakarya, the oldest Jain Ramayana, criticizes Valmiki Ramayana a lot, calling it false and presents his version as a true story of Ram. Muslims claiming that Isa, Jesus, wasn't the son of God but messenger only, and all the prophets right from Abraham were Muslim only. Sikhs stating that Avtara aren't God actually descending on earth, but the agents of God. Vaishnava claiming that Adi Shankaracharya was actually Shiva incarnated on Vishnu's behest to delude the Buddhists by preaching false doctrines, or Madhava's claiming he was rebirth of Maniman, or Kapila was Bhakta, not an atheist. Arya Samaj claiming Rama and Krishna were ideal men, not God incarnates, or making Krishna Draupadi monogamous. Vanara as forest dwelling human tribes. ISKCON claiming Vallabha to be father in law of Chaitanya and getting Swapna Diksha from Chaitanya in later years of his life. Prabhupada calling Muhammad Jesus as Vaishnava. Buddhists claiming that Brahma isn't creator deity but leading God only, but still lower than Buddha. Same with Indra, Vishnu, etc., or Krishna being Sariputra, or Jains claiming the origin of Vedas from Marichi, previous birth of Mahavira. And then the reference read Hindu self-identity and its position in Indian religions. Similar type of differences can also be seen in Rama's story present in Jataka tales and one in the Valmiki Ramayana. The same apologists who are propagating these two Buddha theory will call the Rama and Jataka of Rama of Jataka as Buddhist appropriation of Rama. These people also emphasize on Bhagavad Purana mentioning him as Sugata, thus inferring that this Sugata Buddha, a different person from Gautama Buddha. But Sugata is just epithet of Buddha, describing an aspect of his enlightenment used multiple times to address him in both Pali and Sanskrit texts. This is an argument just for the sake of argument, showing only the desperation and the obliviousness of people pointing it out as a difference. None of the traditional acharyas mentioned anything about two Buddhas. Adi Shankaracharya and Ramanujan, both staunch anti-Buddhist, never said anything Buddha being an avatara at all, nor did they quote Bhagavad Purana in any of their texts, which shows that this Purana was compiled or finished compiling after them. None of the other later traditional bhashyas or texts mention two Buddha or Vishnu Buddha to be separate from Bhikkhu Buddha, like Shankaracharya does in case of Kapila in his Bhashya of the Brahma Sutra or Madhva with Krishna in his Chandogya Upanishad Bhashya. Such a key detail should definitely be mentioned by any acharyas. Had this been traditional view, because there are multiple precedents of commoner pointing out such things in their works. The initial story of Buddha Avatara was different from what we finally see in the Bhagavad Purana or Jayadeva's Dashavatara Stotra. Historical traditional views, while all claiming that Buddha to be an avatara, differed about nature of avatara, sometimes depicted as a preacher who deludes and leads asura and heretics away from the path of Vedic scriptures. But another view praises him as compassionate teacher who preached the path of ahimsa. Not everyone believed Buddha to be an avatara, as already aforementioned about Adi Shankaracharya and Ramanuja. The Vishnu Purana mentions Mahamoha, an illusionary form of Vishnu brought into existence to delude the asuras from following the Vedas and teach them heretical doctrine, deceive them from pursuing Vedic sacrifices, thus diminishing their merits they gained from following Vedas, making them vulnerable to be easily vanquished by the Devas. However, Vishnu Purana credits Mahamoha to be the progenitor of Buddhism, Jainism, and Charvaka, not just Buddhism. Another version takes the Mahamoha meeting the Asuras before destruction of Tripura Asura by Shiva, in which Vishnu took an illusionary form to preach false doctrines to Asuras for the same purpose mentioned in Vishnu Purana version, which ultimately results in annihilation of all three Asura cities by the Shiva. Another version of Triparasura destruction story and Buddha states that Vishnu took form to destroy Pativratya of Rakshasa women by teaching them unrightful things, since the Rakshasa were shielded by piousness of their wives. Madhva, the founder of Dvaita sect, made Gautama separate from Mahamoha, relating to the birth of Tripurasura, but Vishnu Avtara only. Then, in some regional versions prevalent in Odisha, Jagannatha is considered to be manifestation of Krishna or Adi Buddha, and Gautama an incarnation of Jagannatha Buddha. The transition from initial versions of Buddha Avatara stories antagonizing the Buddhists, when Buddhists were still an intellectual force to reckon with, to a compassionate, enlightened teacher, when Buddhism declined to obscurity and ceased to be a major threat, can clearly seen in canonical text. And now this latest claim of two Buddhas is because the Asian spirit of Buddha and politics of Ambedkar and leftists, which raises question on the veracity of Hindu beliefs. In India, the Vaishnavas were the masters in co-opting important people from other traditions and canonizing them as their own in some way or other. Buddha is not the only one who suffered this fate. Many more are there. Buddha Avatara is just hyped because of same reasons this two Buddha theory came up. Otherwise, Buddha Avatara plays hardly any significant role in what commonly constitutes of contemporary Hindu beliefs. Buddhism as a religion was established primarily on the basis of inculturation and co-optation. Buddha's teachings primarily focused on monasticism, not giving much for the layman. Common folk used to continue practicing their native customs while being followers of Buddha, which resulted in many native customs getting intertwined with Buddha Dhamma. This and the similarities between Jataka stories about bodhisattvas and other stories of Vishnu's other incarnations, also might have contributed in paving way for co-optation of Sakyamuni as Buddha incarnate. So, to answer the question, no, there is been only one historical Buddha, that is Shakyamuni, who eventually got co-opted as Vishnu's incarnate in Purana text later on. This is nothing just an apologist whitewash attempt to justify actions of the traditional predecessors. Acceptance of Buddha as an avatara or any other avatara is purely matter of faith. Faith in the scriptures, complete faith in the particular traditions one subscribes to. There is nothing about it other than what is available from traditional sources.